It's time, baby. We're back in a major way. This feels like it's almost the first stream of the season. Does it not? Like we're officially back. I'm not watching the fucking media day stream, no. I'll read the quotes though. So today is media day, and obviously we're going to talk about some of the stuff coming out for media day. Now, just a heads up, media day, I don't really care. Very rarely does anything insightful get said during media day, but we'll look at some of it. We'll look at some of the stuff. Why didn't I go? I was not invited to media day, so I've had people DM me and ask me. Was not asked to be there. Am I salty? Admittedly, and I'm not just saying this to Cope, I would not have gone. I think I might have talked about this with Nick already. But it's not my thing. I'm not a reporter. You know, I'm not a reporter. Thoughts on Arsenal's game? They fucking they thought, didn't they? Man, that would have been a disaster to not get out of there with 3 points. Did you see Tim hitting the sack? Celtics pose a Pistons media day. Yeah, I've been on Twitter for the last 3 hours, just bookmarking a bunch of media day tweets that I've seen that I want to go over. It's funny. This is how I know for sure that we're back. This is how I know for sure that media day is back. I've seen pretty much every single team that's had media day so far. I've seen insightful stuff, interesting little tidbits here and there about new players, how they fit in, about who's starting, injured players, when are they going to be back? Interesting tidbits from every team. You know, there's always yapping, but there's always some interesting tidbits. Thunder, I have yet to see. I don't know if they're actually doing a media day. Are the Oklahoma City Thunders a team? Are they talking? Are they speaking? Or are they just taking photos? Every single Thunder media day related tweet that I've seen has literally just been a picture of somebody on the Thunder roster, and the caption will just be like, "I just came." Every single fucking one. It'll just be a picture of Shannon say, "Oh my God." It's like, are they doing media day or what's going on there? I've yet to see, I'm not trolling. I've yet to see a quote. I've yet to see a singular quote from their media day. Maybe they're just doing the picture portion right now. Thunder don't hold a media day, they hold an aura day. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Before we get into it, obviously, want to say rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo, who sadly passed away today. Obviously a great basketball player, a legendary basketball player, but by all accounts, a very, very good human being. So the basketball community has lost an incredible person, but the world as a whole has lost an incredible person. So rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. Thoughts are with his family and those around him who loved him. What a life. What a great guy. So rest in peace to him. Sad, sad start to the day. He would have loved Derek Lively. He would have loved what Derek Lively had to say today. How do we want to go about this? Because why did they take you to media day? All right, I'm saying this is the last time I'm saying it. I was not invited to media day. I don't know why. All right, don't take it up with me. But again, I really don't think I would have gone. I've been invited to certain things that I've declined because it just didn't fit what I feel like my shtick is, what I feel like my niche is. The DiVincenzo trade, is that what we're calling it? The Texas Legends hit me up, and I was supposed to go to something that I was pretty interested in, but Unfortunately, one of my best friends had a baby shower on the day. No, it's not that I'm too cool for media day. I would fucking love to go to media day. Like, being there would be awesome. It's just I'm not a reporter. You know? I'm not a reporter. Get us out of this hellhole NFL coverage. Dude, okay, I'm not just saying this. I've watched a lot of NFL this year. I watched a lot of NFL this year. And I've circled back to enjoying the NFL. I'm off my hate the NFL shtick, okay? But I will say this, and again, this is coming from a place where I'm off my hate. I hate the NFL shtick, right? I'm kind of bought back in a little bit. It's horrible. This season has been awful. It has been putrid. All the quarterbacks fucking suck. But worse than that, I thought bad quarterback play would be the worst part. The worst part is every offensive line stinks. So it's just watching quarterbacks get sacked 20 times a game. Like that's all it is. The NFL is just a sack simulator currently. And I can't say it's fun or enjoyable. I did watch the end of the Georgia-Bama game. Yes, that was crazy. That was one of the 6 good college football games a year. So we got to witness it. One of the 6 good games a season out of the 3,000 that are played. So it's funny. I had somebody hit me up on Instagram. I missed you guys. I didn't stream for a week. It felt like a year. And just some housekeeping before we get going. Paul has gifted 5 memberships. Come on, England. We're back in a lot of ways, folks. In a lot of ways. Just some quick little house cleaning stuff. Housekeeping. Is it house cleaning or housekeeping? Housekeeping. We're back. I took a week off of streams last week just because I knew what time we were about to get into. I knew that we were about to get into the serious times. I've talked about this before on streams, but I think my plan currently, and I don't want to say for certainty what we're doing here yet. Yvonne, 6 months on the side of the Delusional Club. Should get Nick to ask Luka why he blocked you. That would be really funny. And I've already rambled 6 or 7 different times. I've gone through 4 or 5 different trains of thought. Partha, 24 months. Many are saying Dallas Mavericks. Many are saying it. Somebody hit me up on Twitter or on Instagram, and I don't want to say who it was because I don't want to out them or anything. But somebody hit me up on Instagram, said that they were walking around Dallas, Texas in an unblocked Slightly shirt and passed Luka Doncic's dad. And Luka Doncic's dad said, I know that guy on the shirt. That's true. That's fucking hilarious. That's really funny if that's true. I mean, look, I'm sure he blocked me, folks. He knows who I am. Okay? This isn't a game. This is real life. I was blocked. Okay, that was Josh. All right, I didn't want to say the name. But yeah. But his team also sent me stuff during the playoffs. It's a love-hate relationship between us. So anyways, let me continue down my original train of thought. Housekeeping stuff. I don't want to say for any absolute certainty what's going to be happening yet because there's still some time left, but people hit me up all of the time asking if podcasts, like, can you put the audio form of streams onto Spotify and stuff like that. So Slightly Early will be coming back this year once the NBA season starts. The plan currently is to stream those here. So slightly early streams will be on this channel, and there will be audio versions of that go up on podcast platforms that you guys can listen to if you don't have time to catch a stream or just want to listen to it later. That's currently the plan. And then I just don't... Streaming games on this channel might be over. It might be over. I dealt with 2 different copyright strikes last year. I've dealt with 1 copyright strike every single season. The bigger the channel gets, the more threatening those become. And I've heard from people that are that in the know that the NBA is going to be pretty strict this year. But that doesn't mean we won't be streaming games. We'll be streaming games on playback. That is my initial plan. I know that playback has its downfall. The playback has its pitfalls, and there's some stuff that's wrong with it. Wicked, 24 months. It's been an honor. Damn, 2 years. We got people 2 years in here. I will be live on playback for the games. It just won't be here. So it'll just be a little bit different, but it's just the way it has to be. Just the way that it has to be. For the time being. That's not to say that's how it's going to be all season long. We could make the switch at some point if needed, but that's just how I think we're going to start the season. Okay? It's not ideal, but it's just the way it has to be. I know, playback can't rewind. Like I said, there's no perfect solution. Like, there's no perfect solution. Tonic, 15 months. We back. We are back. Logan, 26 months. Slightly podcasts. That's right. We've tried Twitch. Twitch is actually a little bit more. Twitch just takes your shit down, from what I've known. You don't get like copyright strikes. It just deletes it entirely. No more Slightly GM. No, Slightly GM is retired. We got through, I don't remember how many episodes. There's, I don't know, 15 hours. 15 hours worth of content about the Slightly GM series. It felt like a good time to end it. But this will be, I mean, this is just what we're going with right now. It's not perfect, but it's really a no-win situation either way, because either I stream on here and it's a much more reduced version of what we're used to, and at that point in time, it's like, why not just go to fucking playback and not have to worry about it? Colton, 26 months. Buy the league so you can stream whatever you want. That's the end goal. That's the end goal, of course. How do we want to get into this? I feel like we talk about the cat trade first and foremost before we get into the media day stuff. Wendell Malone. You can pause your stream for 30 seconds so the people who are behind are caught up, and if they are ahead, they can pause their stream. Unfortunately, on playback, unless they are looking to change that, you cannot pause a stream. I can't pause. People can't pause me, so it does make it difficult. At least that's, I mean, we haven't streamed over there since the Olympics, so... I think an underappreciated part of this trade was it was the first non-Woj huge transaction that went down. Can you set up a delay on streamer and on playback? I don't believe you can. I'll ask. Before the start of the season, I'll ask some technical people there. So this isn't obviously like the level of move that Paul George going to the Clippers was or anything like that, but it's such a bizarre trade in the sense that, one, It's a pretty sizable move, right? Julius Randle's, 2 years removed from making an All-NBA team? Cat, obviously an All-NBA guy, an All-Star. Like, an All-Star trade at this point in the season, in the offseason, is a little bit crazy. Jax, 3 months of the Slightly Delusional Club. Derek Lively, very well said. So this coming out, days before media day, a week before training camp starts, is crazy. It is. And it out of nowhere, like I was at dinner, I got it on Sleeper, a Sleeper notification. I have Sleeper notifications turned on for fantasy football. I get one, and I'm like, what? I was talking to my friend. I couldn't get the words out of my fucking mouth. I could not get the words out of my mouth. I was like, cat traded. He was like, huh? Just a bizarre trade. And I think it's weird. I got to say immediately, it feels like a very strange move from the Timberwolves. I'm looking at it from the perspective of Cat's been there for 10 years, first overall pick, been there through the ups and the downs. You just came off of the second best season in your franchise's history and a core that you're hoping to build around and you're hoping to contend for a championship this year. To make a move like this days before training camp starts with reportedly no heads up to Cat at all that this was even a possibility is bizarre. And I have to say, there's something going on. Like, we've heard some stuff here and there. I've seen the Minnesota beat reporters who pretty much are mouthpieces for the team coming out and being like, oh, well, they like Naz Reid and this opens up minutes and opens up cap space. To me, this is clearly and obviously a salary cap saving move, a tax saving move, a move to help them be more flexible financially moving forward. And I don't think there's any real way that they could word it to make it not seem like that, in my opinion. And exactly, purely cost cutting. I've thought about it for days. I'm happy actually that this happened on a Friday and I had some time to sort of digest it and think about it before I talked about it openly. I still don't get it, man. I don't get it for the Timberwolves. I really, really don't. I don't understand why Cat's value is not bad, Like, Julius Randle's a good player. Dante DiVincenzo's a really good role player. Like, that's decent value. You got a shit Pistons pick that's not going to convey, or if it does convey, it'll be like a outside of the lottery pick. Not really that impressive of a pick to have. But I've tried to make it make sense in my brain. They love Naz Reid. That has to be it. They like Naz Reid. I looked at some stats. There are some interesting numbers, like Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid on the court together had a better net rating than Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert on the court together. Does that mean everything? No, of course not. It's pretty small sample size. Naz Reid, if you want to say, hey, Naz Reid is not as good as Karl-Anthony Towns, but he can replace Cat. Like, he can give us 80% of Cat at a fraction of the cost. You're really banking on this season for Naz Reid being like who he is. You're really, really banking on this season from Naz Reid, 13.5 points per game, but more so than anything like that, 41% from three on 5 attempts a game. Like, you're really banking on that being who he is instead of just like a league average shooter, which he was for every other year of his career. He's 24 years old, 25 now, I'd imagine. Just turned 25 years old 35 days ago. And has gotten better every single year of his career. So I could see their logic there. And he is a good defensive player. So I feel like it doesn't really take away much defensively. And now Dante DiVincenzo plugs in. You lost Kyle Anderson in the offseason, Dante DiVincenzo off the bench, really, really strong option for you. And I would assume, I don't know, but I would assume Julius Randle off the bench, which that's its own can of worms. Now, all of a sudden, a Timberwolves team where we were pretty concerned about their bench. Rob Dillingham's going to have a way bigger role than he probably should have. Now that's mitigated a little bit by Donte DiVincenzo being there. But this is the downgrade talent-wise. Obviously, DiVincenzo is nowhere near as good as Cat is. Julius Randle is not as good as Karl-Anthony Towns is. And this is a team that should be focused on a 16-game season moving forward. You had your fun young team. We're here, regular season. We lose in the first round. It was all fun. We're blowing kisses to the crowd. This shit's a movie. This is what movies are made of. We're all having fun. Okay, last year, boom, it was go time. Made it to Western Conference Finals. You lost in 5 games. You got your asses kicked by the Mavericks. But you know what? I'll throw you some bail. I was there. I watched those games in person. I saw those games. That was a pretty competitive series. Like, yes, you lost in 5. Yes, you got blown out in embarrassing fashion in Game 5 on your home floor. But games 1 through 4 were competitive. You know, Luka doesn't do Luka Doncic shit in Game 2. It's a 1-1 series. Who knows how the series ends up? I would say the Mavs still probably win just because they were just picking apart the Timberwolves in the pick and roll, and maybe that was a big reason for this. Cat just wasn't really in a position to stop it defensively. But to me, this limits their ceiling. I really don't think Randall for Cat is a huge difference talent-wise. But what it is, though, is a difference in style. Sure. Let's just say Naz Reid plugs into the starting 5. He's a guy who can space the floor and shoot. Cat claims he's the greatest big man shooter of all time. Obviously, we know that's not true. It's Dirk Nowitzki. That doesn't even need to really be discussed. But he is one of the best three-point shooters of all time. One of the best big man three-point shooters of all time. And volume-wise, yeah, sure, he probably is. When you factor in like volume and stuff, there's probably never been a big like Karl-Anthony Towns when it comes to shooting threes. Julius Randle's not that. Julius Randle needs the ball in his hands. Julius Randle's going to attack the rim. Julius Randle's going to post up. Julius Randle's going to get into an array of moves. He's going to clog the paint. And yes, we know. Again, I mentioned 16-game season. This needs to kind of be the line of thinking. Once you reach a point where we know who we are in the regular season, we know we're good enough to make the playoffs. We know we feel we have a number one in Anthony Edwards who can take us to the promised land, win a championship. Boom, you've entered the 16-game category. Like, that's where you're at as a team. Everything that you do needs to be through the lens of winning a championship, winning in the postseason. Julius Randle is one of the worst postseason players we have ever seen. Okay? Period. 17 points per game on 34% from the field, 28% from 3. Efficiency-wise, absolutely one of the worst high-volume players we've seen in the playoffs. Now, granted, it's only been, he's only had 2 trips to the postseason. He's played in 3 series, I think. 42% true shooting when they got beat by the Hawks in 2021. 48% true shooting 2 years ago. He missed the entire postseason this past year. So I don't know. I know Cat wasn't great in the playoffs either, but he provides a floor spacing problem that makes it really difficult. Now, Donte DiVincenzo also provides that, but the thing is, it comes from the guard position. If the Timberwolves had just like a glaring need for a starting guard next to Ant, I would love this way more for them. But you have to imagine it's Conley, Ant, McDaniels, Naz Reid, Randle, and Gobert. So somebody's going to be out the rotation. Now, it could be McDaniels, who like finds himself not closing games as often as Donte DiVincenzo. Because DiVincenzo had a great season last year. 40% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. And we've talked about this before. I think I talked about this when we did the top 100 list and I had him on there. That those numbers were just insane when he got thrown into the starting 5. When all the injuries happened and his minutes kicked up. His shooting numbers were just absurd. I mean, the amount of threes he was getting up there, it was like 14 threes a game. Yeah, 12 three-point attempts a game in the second half of the season. Just letting that thing fly. So he's a really nice get for the Timberwolves. I actually really, really like that for them. So it's not like a terrible trade for Minnesota. but I don't love it. I don't leave this move feeling like they've done something to strengthen their core. They've done something to strengthen themselves as a 16 game team. I don't feel that way, and it feels gross because it's like that's what you should be doing. You know, all this talk about, well, they're opening up the window for the core three. The Timberwolves reporters are saying this. Core three of Ant, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid. And I just want to say, and I've said this before, I don't know if somebody in the league does not match what I see with my eyes versus what his team's fan base tells me he's supposed to be than Jaden McDaniels. A good defender. You see some flashes here and there offensively, but he's supposed to be like, he's making, what is it, $30 million a year. He's supposed to be like this guy who's going to develop into this dude who can create for himself offensively. One of the best defenders in the league. I don't see that. I don't see that when I watch him. I see a very good defender, one of the best defenders in the league, full stop. And a up and down offensive player. And yes, it does feel like Julius Randle will more than likely be shopped. But what's his market, though? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm just not in love with this move at all for the Timberwolves. I'm just not. It just feels like, oh, well, they're setting things up for the future. They're setting things up for the future for salary cap stuff. Well, they better be really confident that there's a move down the line for them. They don't have a lot of picks, obviously, from the Gobert trade. They don't have a ton of really valuable young trade assets, right? So is the hopes and dreams that, oh, well, Randall's only on 2 years, and Gobert's contract will end at some point, Mike Conley will retire at some point, and then we can go out and get a free agent. Is that the plan? That's true. Julius Randle, in slightly GM, when I took over as GM of the Dallas Mavericks, Julius Randle did wind up a member of the Dallas Mavericks at one point. So maybe that's the play. Wild prediction, Randle ends the season on the Blazers. I mean, I don't know. I'm not fully bought in on Julius Randle being somebody who could be a very reliable 30, 35 minute per game guy in the postseason. Now, granted, it's not like Cat was really that either, but I like their direction more. They were a difficult team to match up with Cat. Luka Doncic just did Luka Doncic shit, okay, at the end of the day. And this also feels like a further bet on Anthony Edwards, which is going to be a good bet, but they really need him. They really need him to continue to develop. And someone mentioned it earlier. Julius Randle's a good playmaker. I think Cat's a bit of an underappreciated playmaker for his size, but Julius Randle is a good playmaker, and that will help out. That will help out alongside Anthony Edwards, especially Mike Conley, who is older, not the picture of health, and probably they don't want him to run him into the ground. Having another playmaker alongside will be pretty important. For the Knicks fans hate. It's funny. I can't remember a high profile trade like this over the last few years where both fan bases just seem to fucking hate the move the moment it happens. Of course, they've talked themselves into it over time. That's what any fan base will do when a trade happens. But right when the trade broke, every single Jesus, I just read the chat. Every single person on the Timberwolves subreddit and the Knicks subreddit hated this trade. Hated this trade. It was just kind of hilarious to see. From the Knicks side of things, it felt more like a sentimental thing. The Villanova boys have been broken up before you even got to see it. And Julius Randle, love-hate, but it was more so Dante DiVincenzo. They didn't want to lose out on Dante DiVincenzo. For the Timberwolves side, it felt more like what the fuck are we doing? We just traded Cat for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo? Yeah, the opinions varied greatly. But I can't help but feel like this is a really nice move for the Knicks. Julius Randle was hurt most of last year when you played really well. So you can look at him and say, you were replaceable. We just saw it last year. You are replaceable. We just witnessed last season, when you're out the lineup, we can win. And then they trade Dante DiVincenzo, who maybe they feel with Mikal Bridges coming in, who they didn't give up anything in their rotation for Mikal Bridges. They still have Josh Hart. Deuce McBride, they're hoping takes a step forward. Like, there's inevitably going to be minutes that aren't available for Dante DiVincenzo. And then there's been some whispers and stuff that he wasn't, like, super thrilled about his role diminishing this upcoming season. I don't know how true that is, but that's what some Knicks reporters were saying. And you have a guy, your starting center, you lose Hartenstein in the offseason. Big blow. I mean, that was what we were talking about all offseason for them. It's like losing Hartenstein is a big fucking deal, especially when your only other center right now is Mitchell Robinson, who's never healthy. And wouldn't you know it, he needs a surgery, and he's going to miss the first few months of the season. So now your center options were Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims, and like Julius Randle, small ball 5 minutes. Like, for a team that's hoping to compete for an NBA championship, that's dire. You go out and get Karl-Anthony Towns, I mean, that's miles better than your other options. That's miles better. And it's all going to depend on Karl-Anthony Towns, obviously. That goes without saying. The talent is there, but will the mentality be there? Is he going to be cool with being the second guy? I mean, full stop, the second guy. Right? The Thibodeau, we got the Thibodeau piece. Those two did not like each other. I mean, that was a very public thing when Thibodeau was coaching the Timberwolves. Those two did not really get along. But I doubt they make this move if they thought that would be a problem. Defensively, I thought Cat had some moments last year defensively where he was good, but he wasn't playing center. And he's going to be playing the center this year. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. But I do know one thing, is Karl-Anthony Towns is, without question, one of, if not the best, pick-and-pop guy in the NBA, probably the best. I think by three-point efficiency metrics, he is the best pick-and-pop player in the NBA. That's going to be really, really nice next to Brunson. And we saw at times last year, especially in the postseason when guys were injured and stuff like that, just there was so much of a load on Brunson. So much was being asked of him offensively that it was just not sustainable. And then Brunson flamed out and got hurt. Now another guy who can create, who can space the floor. It's going to help out. It's funny because I see, like, they're going to miss Dante DiVincenzo's spacing. I'm like, yeah, well, they're also getting, like, a huge spacing threat in Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, having your big be able to space the floor like that is a big fucking deal. You keep Cat in a complementary role, Jesus, and not rely on him as a second option. That's an ideal fit for him. Yeah, and I guess, in theory, he'll be the second option here, but I don't think it's going to play out that way, where they're, like, asking him to be the second option. Brunson has the ball in his hands just about as much as anybody in the NBA, and then it's going to be a diet of Cat, Mikal Bridges, obviously. Who do you think won the trade? I do think the Knicks do, but it's a weird trade. It's a strange trade. If we look at this trade a year or two from now and we're like, man, that was weird. Like, no team really got better. Like, just kind of a weird trade that didn't really improve both sides. That wouldn't surprise me. If we look back a year from now, it's like, man, Cat's been great on the Knicks, and DiVincenzo and Randall have been great depth pieces and bench players for the Timberwolves. Like, it really worked out. That really wouldn't surprise me either. It sounds like I'm fence sitting. I hate fence sitting. I usually want to plant my flag and be right or wrong about something, but I don't know what the fuck to think about this trade. I don't really think about anything. It's hard. It's a difficult trade. It's a trade that just came out. I mean, this wasn't even on anyone's radar. I mean, what a bizarre trade. Are the Knicks now a threat to Boston? Yeah, I do think so. The Knicks are really good. I do feel like the Timberwolves got worse, which for where they're at feels bad. Maybe they've made themselves a little bit more flexible down the line with moves they can make, but man, that's a tough sell. Fresh off of making the conference finals for the second time in your franchise's history, that's a tough sell. People will yap about Luka's usage rate and say Brunson is a winning player. He's nowhere near Luka. People say that right now because Brunson's the fun new thing. But once the Knicks have a couple of flameouts in the playoffs here and there, it's going to be, Brunson's got a 34% usage rate, huh? Oh, ball hog. It's how it goes. Everyone loved Luka when he came into the league immediately. And then people get tired of you. People get tired of you, unfortunately. Cat was asked in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, it's hard to be like, oh, well, Julius Randle's been terrible in the playoffs. So it's like, well, Cat hasn't really been great either. So who the fuck knows? We moved on from usage rate anyways. We're in kitchen sink conversations. Yeah. True. That's a great point. We got to get rid of the outdated stats. Kitchen sink, Darko's been around a while. What are some of the other funny ass ones we've seen over the years? Kitchen sink. There was another one that was getting tossed around last year where we were like, what the fuck? Wasn't it like cum? Drip. Oh, yeah, drip. That was a real one. No, Vorp's been around. Vorp's been around for a while. Drip was the new one. LeBron's been around for a while as well. Glorp was the one that I created, and I'm a believer in it. Kitchen sink and drip. I've never heard of drip before. That there was like some stat that was like Luka leads the league in drip. I was like, nice, yeah. Drip's like really realistically, just talking to statisticians and math majors, drip is really one of the better ones, all-encompassing ones. That's what you have to do, guys. You just have to talk like that. If you just word and have a cadence like that, it sounds so confident that nobody can ever tell you anything. Okay. Just if you have a cadence like that. No, guys, actually, drip. I know it's a goofy name, but I talked to a buddy of mine actually who went to Harvard and studied stats, was a stats major at Harvard. He said drip's actually the best stat that there is. It's just a better all-encompassing stat. Other stats they lack in certain areas, but drip really is the best all-encompassing NBA stat. You see how that sounds? Sounds good, right? We're fucking locked in this season. I'm telling you guys, we are locked and loaded. We're ready to go. The week off from streaming is what I needed. It's what I needed, and I missed it, and I was yearning for it. I wanted to go live every single day. We didn't. We held strong, and now I'm ready to go, and I have so much pent-up energy. We're ready to let it loose over the next 9 to 10 months. Vorp was originally for baseball. I mean, Vorp is just value over replacement player. It's not like a crazy stat. It's just Vorp. It's the same thing with WAR, wins above replacement, which is a thing in some basketball, but it's not like a stat that people use at all. Basketball, though, with the difference between basketball and baseball just has so many different set stats. That's why like you can literally not know a single thing about baseball, never watch a baseball game, look at advanced metrics, and know all you need to know. Why is that? Because there's a set number of things that can happen in a baseball game. That's it. You have set outcomes. It's such a numbers game, through and through. Was it a hit or not? If it was a hit, how many bases was it? Did they get on base or not? If they got on base, how did they get on base? And now it's gone to, well, they got out, but did they hit the ball hard? Okay, they did hit the ball hard. Expected batting average, like all of these different things where you could look at a player's profile and say, oh, that guy's going to be good. Or that guy's going to be bad. Basketball is just, it's, sure, the ball goes in the basket. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a good shot. That doesn't mean it was a good offensive possession. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in the basket, but hey, sometimes it was a good process. Was it good defense? Was it bad offense? Like, you can't really know without watching. Baseball is far, far better with advanced stats where they can tell an objective account of events compared to basketball. The latter is getting there, but it still lags way behind. Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect way to put it. Like baseball, you can follow everything that happened in the game through just like a statistical telling of the game. But basketball, in the way pretty much every advanced metric tries to go at basketball, is stuff like this. It's BPM, box plus minus. It's the impact when you're on the court versus when you're off the court, right? So when you're on the court, is your team good? Is your team better when you're on the court versus when you're off the court? When you're on the court, how much better? Like that is just so. That is the pillar of every single advanced basketball metric that there is, pretty much. And there's a lot of ways that can be, I wouldn't say manipulated, but a lot of ways that could be misleading, right? But it is typically like pretty good. Like if you look at, and it's not just me saying this, pretty much everyone I've heard talk about it has said EPM is the best currently, the best all-encompassing basketball metric we have. But obviously, it's not flawless or anything like that. But just, it's the best. And I often wonder when people say that, do they mean I can look at the stats and if it makes sense? Like if the list makes sense, then we're good. Like if you look at EPMs last year, all right, Embiid 1, Shea 2, Luka 3, Giannis 4, Jokic 5, Brunson 6. It's like, yeah, that about matches my eye test. If you go by offense, Luka the best offensive player in the league. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Jokic second best, yeah. Embiid, Brunson, Halliburton, like all of this sounds right to me. Nuggets fans said it was the best last year. This year they said it's not that good. Surprisingly, Jokic ranked lower. That is how it goes. I've grown more and more annoyed, and today was the most I've been on Twitter in a long time, just because, again, I was finding quotes for Media Day and stuff like that. The most that I've been on Twitter in quite some time. Man, there are some fan bases that really annoy me. Like, really get under my fucking skin. I already talked about Thunder fans. How Media Day, I've seen all the quotes from other teams, all the reporters. Hey, Jalen Duren said this. Oh, Bilal Coulibaly grew a couple inches. I'm like, okay, that's all pretty interesting. Thunder fans are growing a couple inches in a different way. No quotes, just pictures. No, I love Orlando. You guys know this. Orlando is probably my second team currently. I love them. We got a nice little, me and them got just something weird about the fact that when this channel was smaller, and it was probably, I would say right now it's probably about 70% Mavs fans. But it used to be like 95% Mavs fans. And that other 5% was like, for some reason, Magic fans. And we all got along. We all had a lot of fun together. They're my second team. I love them. I do. I love them. True. Nuggets fans as well. And I have to be honest with you, when I was talking about fans that annoyed me, Nuggets fans are at the top of my mind. And it was mainly because Swipe a Cam was going on about Luka not having a playoff series that was in Jokic's top 3 playoff series. No, buddy. No, buddy. No. I mean, at some point, are we going to appreciate the fact that the Dallas Mavericks in the Luka Doncic era, okay, have won, 5 postseason series now at this point? They were the betting favorites in one of those. In one. This year against the Clippers. And it wasn't like they were minus 220. It was like damn near even odds. So in 4 of the 5 postseason series the Mavericks have won, they were the betting underdogs. In 4 of those 5, outside of the Jazz series, I believe that they were the lower seed. And I believe every single one of them were a 50-win team. Am I wrong in that? All 5 50-win teams? Are we ever going to put stock in that? Like, I know we talk about the stats and stuff, but it's like, hey, the guy goes out and fucking wins. Yeah, the only series the Mavs did have home court advantage, Luka missed the first 3 games. And look, I don't often go to the Jokic hasn't played a 50-win team thing. I think part of it's really stupid because the year that they won, they were the 1 seed. So naturally, you're going to play lower seeds. That's just how it goes. But I mean, it's not that comparable. Jimmy Butler. Looks normal for media day this year. What does that mean for the Heat? Was there ever an explanation as to why Jimmy did this last year? Like, did we ever get like a explanation for the emo phase? He's locked in. Bad news for the Heat. Was it a music video? Is that really it? Okay, all right. Fallout music video. All right, I did not know that. All right, let's get into Media Day stuff. How are we an hour into the stream and we haven't even got into Media Day? We are back. When we start getting into the podcasts, when Slightly Early launches, the episode 1 of Slightly Early this year will be available in podcast form. We have to be a little bit more focused, okay? Unless some of you guys just don't care. Some of you guys like the rambling, and I do appreciate that. But for podcast listeners, we need to be a little bit more hyper-focused on what we're talking about. Can't let my thoughts, my train of thoughts derail me so much. Just bought minoxidil, Slightly. I'm locked in. Don't want to go bald. I don't know what that is. Never had to worry about any bald medication at all. But good luck. What franchise is in a worse situation? Clippers or Suns? Easily. I mean, easily the Clippers. Easily. No access to anything. They're not contenders anymore. Their window is slammed shut, and they don't really have any desirable trade assets. So. Can we get a podcast on trains? That would be great. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we can do that. Yeah, you should thank your parents. Yeah, my family does have a great set of hair. I mean, that is one thing. Knock on glass. Good set of hair. My height is a mystery. It's a mystery where my height comes from. Anytime I'm at family gatherings, I just tower over everybody there. You still got time. Don't get cocky. Well, at my age, right? You guys like to call me Unc. At my age, you pretty much know. Like, you pretty much know around this time if the hair's going to abandon you sooner rather than later. Once you get to your mid-20s, you know. You can tell. You can tell about where your hairline is. You can tell. All right. Shout out to my boy Noah. Let's go. Noah was on fucking point today. Quote after quote after quote. We're going to scroll through my guy Noah's timeline, catch up on some tweets, catch up on some of the reports in the news. Noah is killing it, man. Shout out to Noah Weber. If you're not following him on Twitter, please do so. This was my guy. I unblocked slightly. No, that wasn't our team name. An Unblockables teammate during the Mavs Twitter tournament. Me, B-Dot, I've seen him pop around in here. Tim Cato, obviously. Noah's a dog. Man, a lot of quotes. All right, we start off with Brandon Williams. They're trolling. They are trolling. Mavs Media Day. Again, I don't usually take too much stock into what's said during Media Day, especially from this Mavericks team, because I'm just remembering days of old where this player is guaranteed to start, that player is guaranteed to start, and it's just really not there's really just not that much useful information to take away from it, to be completely and totally honest with you. But it is interesting to hear what these guys have to say. Noah Weber's who we're going with. He's there. My guy Noah, part of the Unblockables, the team that a lot of people around the association are saying should have won the Mavs Twitter tournament. A lot of people are saying the most talented team just an unfortunate injury to their star player, me, slightly biased, dealing with a heel injury, not at 100%. 3-ball wasn't falling that day. Just a lot of things going on around the team that set them up for their failure. Again, that's other people's words, not necessarily mine. But let's see. Let's see some of the quotes from Media Day. We have Brandon Williams on the podium, starting a bit early. Brandon Williams is titling this part of his career as learning experience. He wants to be a sponge. God bless you, Brandon Williams. We're going to go ahead and scroll up a little tiny bit. Here we go. Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd says Derek Lively will start with the first group. So here we go. This is the biggest news of the day so far. Jason Kidd all but confirming that Derek Lively will start the season in the starting 5, or at least have a chance to start the starting 5. This is what we expected, right? This is what we expected to have happen, and it's best for the team, right? It's best for the development of Derek Lively as well. And Daniel Gafford coming off the bench is as good as it gets. In honor of Mavs Media Day, here's slightly biased reacting to Kyrie's game winner versus the Nuggets. Kyrie for the win! Oh, Kyrie Irving! Kyrie Irving! Game time! Game time! Game time! No way he just hit that! Absolutely no way he just hit that! A lefty hook? Unforgettable ingenuity! This is when we knew. This is really when we knew. Quick, please delete the VOD. So good news for Derek Lively that he's going to be starting. We knew it, though. That's really not that much of a surprise. The expectation in that locker room is to win a championship. That's what we like to hear. So far, a lot of coach speak, but we like it. That should be the expectation inside the locker room. Jason Kidd says he thinks Klay Thompson feels at home in Dallas. That's what we like to hear as well. Some very interesting Klay Thompson stuff that we'll get to as well. Jason Kidd said there will be plenty of competition in training camp when it comes to playing time and the starting lineup. Says there are 2 or 3 guaranteed starters. So that's a little interesting if you want to do a little dive, a little digging there. 2 or 3 guaranteed starters. Well, you know, Luka and Kyrie are guaranteed starters, so there's 2 right there, which I guess would insinuate that the remainder of the starting 5 is available, which that's the way it should be, right? If I had to guess, the starting 5 on opening night will be Luka, Kyrie, Klay, PJ, and Lively. But, you know, let's see. Let's see if Najee Marshall is good enough in camp and stuff to make that an interesting conversation. Let's see if maybe Jaden Hardy is so good that Kyrie comes off the bit. Every time he lets it go, it looks like it's going in. Jason Kidd on Klay Thompson's three-point shooting. And a lot of people say that about my shooting as well. We've had shooters, but we haven't had a Jason Terry or a Klay Thompson. Jason Kidd on the Thompson signing and what he adds as a shooter. This is very true. You know, you look at percentage-wise, and there's guys, you know, Kyrie Irving is a phenomenal three-point shooter. Tim Hardaway Jr., for all of his flaws, a good three-point shooter, right? They've had good three-point shooters. They haven't had a catch-and-shoot guy who can fly off of screens and just sort of bend the defense just with his presence alone as a high-volume catch-and-shoot guy like Klay Thompson. They just haven't. I mean, to be fair, there's really no Klay Thompsons out there. Like, Klay Thompson is almost one of one in his three-point shooting ability. I do think it would be better for the team structure for Klay to come off the bench, but close in tight games. I don't really care much about the starting 5. I've mentioned this. I said this in my Najee Marshall video. If you guys haven't seen that yet, go watch it at the end, where I do think Najee coming off the bench makes the most sense for the team just because he has sort of secondary playmaking abilities that I think will be nice off the bench. Seth Curry as well. Seth Curry, obviously, maybe still historically the best three-point shooter ever in terms of accuracy, three-point percentage, but obviously he's not the threat Klay Thompson is. Jason Kidd listed Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes as 2 guys who can make major impacts this season. Obviously, we know that about Najee Marshall. The Quentin Grimes one here is interesting. I'm intrigued by Quentin Grimes. I have an open mind. I haven't watched Quentin Grimes stuff, and I plan on doing that before the season really starts. But just my initial thoughts is I want to keep my expectations reasonable, and therefore I'm thinking that he won't be a super impactful guy for the team. But, you know, I'm keeping an open mind. Jason Kidd said Jaden Hardy is going to get his opportunity this season and has been patiently waiting, which is an interesting quote because the guard depth is pretty arguably deeper than it's ever been when Jaden Hardy's been here, with Spencer Dinwiddie coming back and Exum playing like he did last year. I'm interested to see what that means and what it looks like. PJ Washington will speak now. He did get his opportunity in the Eastern Conference. What's your thoughts on Kyrie Najee at the 3 playing 25, 23 minutes? Kyrie at the 3? No. Is that what you're asking? Absolutely not. Jason Kidd said that, okay, this was an interesting quote. Jason Kidd said that defense at the point of attack and defending guards is going to be by committee. Also said that Luka Doncic is going to need to defend well too. Now he made a quote. He made a joke. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, saying that Luka will be an option to replace Derrick Jones Jr.'s defense. And some dumbasses just took it seriously. Clearly joking. But this is about what we expect. A committee approach. Whoever's on the court at the time that's the best defender will be guarding the other team's best player. Thoughts on Klay and Najee at the 3 playing 25 to 23 minutes? Are you saying Klay gets 25 minutes, Najee gets 23 minutes? I'm assuming there will be some times when like Najee's the 2 or Klay's the 2. I worry about perimeter defense with those 3, but at least we have very good to great paint defender on the floor at all times that will help mitigate the deficiencies on the perimeter. Yeah. It's interesting how it's going to look with Klay, Kyrie, and Luka on the floor at the same time. And Kidd's right. They're going to have to defend. All 3 of those guys are going to have to defend. It's not an option. They have to. That is that we don't have an elite one-on-one defender anymore answer right there. I asked PJ Washington one word to describe this year's team: versatile. Good word, PJ. That's it from PJ. He wasn't on there long. Derek Lively, here we go. Derek Lively said he will take the threes that come to him. He said sometimes he'll shoot 1 to 2 threes a game, and other times he'd shoot more. Wants to shoot those shots within the flow of the game.
Threes, because I have baby, and then, whatever shots come to all 10 featuring Little Baby, and then,
Little Baby.
Whatever shots come to me, I'm going to take. It's not going to be out there searching for threes, because I have many teammates on my team that I would rather shoot the ball more than me. I'm going to just try to set them up in places where they can get open threes. But of course, I'm going to take the threes that come to me in my open spots, so I can just feel the way the game's going. Some games it might be 1 or 2. Some games it might be more. You just got to be able to see how the game's going.
More than 1 or 2 threes a game? More than 1 or 2 threes a game? Jimmy's hair was normal. Jimmy Butler had normal hair. I was saying, can we get to 1 3 attempt a game for Derek Lively? That would be my hopes. 1 3-point attempt a game for Lively. 1 to 2 would be interesting, assuming that he's actually hitting them at a decent clip, obviously. Like, we don't want 2 3-point attempts a game if he's shooting 14% from 3. I'm the glue guy to make everything go together. It cannot be emphasized enough how lucky the Mavericks were to land a guy like Derek Lively. Not just for his impact on the court, which is tremendous, obviously, for a rookie. I was talking with a friend actually last week about this. It's funny. It is kind of funny whenever we're rolling and clicking, the season's rolling. I'm going to be real. I don't really like talking to my friends about the Mavericks. And I usually feel bad because they know that I love the Dallas Mavericks. They love the Dallas Mavericks. And they want to talk to me about it. But I spend so much time talking about them that I don't really want to talk about them when I don't have to. Well, last week, since I didn't stream for a week, I was just fiending to talk about them. Talk about basketball. And I was talking to a friend about Derek Lively, and I was like, man, like if rookie Derek Lively was peak Derek Lively, like if that's what Derek Lively looked like in year 4, I would have been happy with that. Now, that's a great point, no way. In our Slightly GM series where we took over the Dallas Mavericks, Derek Lively did unfortunately turn into a diva, and we had to trade him because he was constantly mad. But yes, if Derek Lively develops a 3-ball and is like a pick and pop threat to go along with a roll threat, I mean, that's just unstoppable. It's unstoppable. But the Mavs are incredibly lucky to have a player like him at a position that they desperately needed help with, the center position, for damn near my entire life, right? But also, he just seems to get it, man. He just gets it. He's 20 years old. It doesn't sound like he's 20 years old. It sounds like he's been in the league for 10 years. He knows his role. He plays it perfectly. He gets better. He does all the dirty work. He knows that by doing the dirty work, everything else is going to be available to you. You get the opportunity to shoot 1 to 2 threes a game if you do the dirty work. If Willie Cauley-Stein, God fucking bless him, if Willie Cauley-Stein said, I'm going to shoot 1 to 2 threes a game, we'd all be like, are you joking? Are you kidding? Are you pranking? But Lively just does all the dirty work, all the stuff that he specifically needs to do on this team. And it's like, yeah, dude, shoot 2 threes a game if you want. Derek Lively said the Mavs are a family, not a team. Derek Lively said the Mavs all have each other's backs on and off the floor. See, this is the type of speak right here that, okay. You know, I saw Kyle Kuzma say that this Wizards team was the closest and best team chemistry he's ever been on. Like, this type of stuff I don't really put much value in, okay? I put more value in a quote that'd be like, yeah, honestly, like, we got in a couple fist fights over the course of the summer, but we'll probably be all right. Like, I'm not speaking with several guys on the team currently, but maybe by the end of the year we'll figure it out. Like, that's more interesting to me. I'd be like, oh. Here comes Luka Doncic. Luka said having Klay Thompson on the Mavs is unbelievable, and he can't wait to watch. He can't wait to play with him. It is actually unbelievable. Is that $4 water? No. This is just HEB electrolyte water. I believe I got a 12-pack for $9 of the 1 liter. It's pretty expensive, but you know, when you're me, it doesn't matter. I put it on Klarna. So I have a $12 pack of water. I'm paying it off in 4-month increments. So really not that bad. Your Luka accent is still trash? No way. No way you think that. Luka Doncic has one word to describe the season. Championship. What's your credit score slightly? 246. I mean, that's good to see right there. Championship. The team is motivated. They're ready to go. Again, this is a lot of coach speak. I'd be a little bit more concerned if the answer was just have fun. Derek Lively on his defensive development, trying to be able to cover anybody's mistakes. I'm in the paint, so I'm guiding everyone. Everybody, no matter if that's me switching out to the 3-point line and guarding a guard, making everybody as vocal as possible, making sure everybody's moving on a tandem. Again, guys, this is a 20-year-old. This is a 20-year-old who is playing a very important position alongside Luka Doncic, 1, but also 2, being tasked with like quarterbacking an entire defense. It's hard, man. That's hard stuff. That's not stuff that's supposed to come easily. That's supposed to be something that takes years and years and years of playing, not just playing basketball, but playing in a good system to fully understand. It just feels like he gets it immediately. Yeah, 20 going on 30. Exactly. Luka Doncic has one word to describe the season as championship. That's the goal.
Just one word?
Yeah.
For this season.
As you're heading into it, what do you think you're going to focus on? What's one word? What's the mission? What's the vibe?
You got me there.
Hey, I'm a good journalist.
One word.
If you need to, I can give you
Championship.
Okay.
That's the goal.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to be real. The quote looks cooler written out than it is spoken. Looking good, though. Luka looks really good. Amazing. Yeah, you should have said amazing. Luka Doncic on when he found out the Mavs were signing Klay Thompson. Unbelievable. He's a 4-time champion. He's an amazing player, so I was very excited that he signed with us. I can't wait to play with him. Luka Doncic on what Klay Thompson adds to the offense. You basically can't help off of him. When me and Kai have the ball, you basically can't help from Klay because if you leave him wide open, he's going to make it. So I think the spacing is going to be crucial for us. He doesn't think spacing will lead to more dunks for him, though. Maybe. Who the fuck asked him that? Who asked him that? I do think it was interesting hearing Cuban on, what show was it? What show was he on? Shannon Sharp's show, I believe. Talking about them getting Klay. And it was just like, he was pretty much just like, yeah, it was like Kyrie. I fucking told you guys this, man. Every now and then I'll get a notification that somebody commented on a video of mine, and it will be the video from right before the Mavs traded for Kyrie Irving, when I was saying the Mavericks should trade for Kyrie Irving. And one of my big things was is that players around the league love this dude. Like, I know there's a lot of stuff about Kyrie Irving in the media and things like that, but players love this guy. They love him. What about Cuban supporting Harris and Adelson supporting Trump? Now, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. That's something I do think about, that it could become potentially weird. Just for those of you not in the States, obviously the presidential election is like a month or 2 months away. The Adelsons who have purchased the Dallas Mavericks are the biggest contributors to the Republican Party there is. And I do think that it could get weird. I actually think that's a thing that could get strange. I'm being 100% honest with you. I wouldn't predict it will happen. I just think it'll be business as usual. I think they got into the Dallas Mavericks as a way of getting into gambling in Texas when it inevitably gets here. I don't think much of it had to do with a love for basketball. They want to be super involved in everything. I just think they wanted to have the team. They wanted to have a huge power play, a huge chip at their disposal. No pun intended. So when gambling comes around, they have a seat at the table to build a casino immediately, and it could be a casino, resort, stadium, which is what they've talked about for the Mavericks. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I can't lie. I've thought about it. Here comes Kyrie Irving. Our dreams are possible because he's here now. Kyrie Irving on Klay Thompson joining the Mavs. Some shade? Some shade on Derrick Jones Jr.? No, I'm just kidding. Tim Hardaway Jr.? Our dreams are possible now. Kyrie Irving said his hand is doing much better, and he was back to work 3 days after the NBA Finals ended. Says he's doing much better, and it was a needed break as he was quickly back to work after the NBA Finals ended. All right, so Kyrie's back to good. Got rid of some bums, and our dreams are possible now. I think he's more so saying, this was, I mentioned this before the offseason started, that I was very interested to see what the Mavs did this offseason, because it would be very, very telling of how they viewed themselves, right? Obviously. Like, if they just kind of decided to run it back and maybe just brought in Najee Marshall or something, or still did the Tim Hardaway Jr. trade, but, brought Derrick Jones Jr. back, that the idea would have been, we're going defense. Like, that's how we won last year. That's how we made that second half push that we made, was because our defense was so good, and it was good because we had length, we had athleticism, and that's what we're going to rely on. Or they could go we made it to the finals, but our offense was just so bad, and we just can't win that way. So we need to maybe take a step or two back defensively, if that means improving offensively. And that is the route that they took this offseason. And hearing Kyrie and Luka talk about it, it's obvious that they felt that they needed some more offensively, you know. I remember when Cuban was talking about how he manages basketball stuff as minority owner. You can sell this BS only to sports ball fans. Yeah, Cuban's getting pushed out. I just think that's obviously going to happen. But it's good to hear that Kyrie's back, though, and healthy. I actually forgot that happened, that he broke his hand. Kyrie Irving teased doing apparel collaborations with Klay Thompson, and Mavs fans would be all over this. I was this fucking close to pulling the trigger on some Kyrie, some Kai ones, which I don't have yet. I've been just waiting, and they got some great colorways, but I didn't. The reason I didn't was because I accidentally, and this wasn't an actual accident, accidentally bought something else on StockX. Dwight Powell is at the table. Okay, no quotes from Dwight Powell. Noah went to go use a bathroom. That's fucked up, Noah. Bathroom break. Dwight Powell goes to sit down. Noah immediately gets up, goes and grabs some popcorn, goes to the restroom. No quotes from Dwight Powell. All right. Quentin Grimes speaking. AJ Lawson speaking. Dante Exum speaking. I asked Exum about his finger injury from the Olympics. Exum says he's a full participant at 100%. He's ready to go. That's great news. Daniel Gafford speaking. Daniel Gafford supporting Kyrie Irving by wearing his Anti-Kai ones to media day. I mean, they're clean, dude. They're really good-looking shoes. Daniel Gafford said that he put on muscle this summer. Hey, you and me both, Bubba. You and me both, Bubba. Markieff Morris will speak now. Markieff Morris said that he was never going to sign with another team this summer. It was always going to be the Mavs. Said he wanted to get his brother Marcus to the Mav, but leaving was never in his plans. Interesting.
Yeah, it's always going to be the Mavs. I was trying to get my brother here, but it was always going to be Mavs.
That would have been interesting. Markieff Morris. Oh, I already read that. Kessler Edwards. Kessler Edwards said one of the first things he knows about being with the Mavs is the chemistry everyone has. Said he realized why Dallas made it so far last season. It's great to hear. Here's Spencer Dinwiddie. Oh, and Omax. Omax Prosper absolutely expects a bigger role this season. Says that he's focused on defense and being a disruptor, but also wants to be a good complement to Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving on the offensive end. Maxi Kleba. And that's that. That is that for the main stuff. Great work, Noah. This is what the slightly biased pipeline. I don't want to take credit for Noah at all. Noah is the best that there is. Oh, Clay's talking now. Now this will be interesting. This will be interesting quote-wise. Klay Thompson. Dinwiddie says he's loving life since his second son was born recently. Congratulations, Spencer Dinwiddie. Now I've got a little fat version of my dad. That's pretty funny. Why do Mavs have such good chemistry? Luka just kind of does his own thing. I think Luka just gets, from what I can maybe gather, Luka was really good friends with Brunson. I think Luka just plays basketball. Like, I don't think Luka has a super, super out there personality. Dude, the Mets are going crazy. I've been monitoring this Mets-Braves game. The Mets are going absolutely crazy right now. Maxi Kleba says his foot is good, says his biggest focus this offseason was to spend time with family before returning to Dallas to get in shape for training camp. Jane Hardy says, I'm stronger and I feel faster. All right, Klay Thompson speaks.
Feels really good. And then, second of all, when you saw this team...
Is he on cocaine?
And then, second of all, when you saw this team in the finals, obviously you envisioned yourself, but, just what areas can you see yourself helping this team not only getting back to the finals, but winning on the championship?
I think my game complements the roster very well, especially from a perimeter scoring aspect. I think I'll help space the floor for guys like Luka and Kyrie to do their thing, and just being here this week and playing with our team and building chemistry with our big guys and our guards, giving our offense kind of a whole new dimension. And I can see us, that's why I was here in the first place, because I saw how close they were to winning the championship, and the opportunity to do that again, I don't take it for granted, and I'm going to work my hardest to try and get us back there.
Like that answer. He's trying to get off weed and on coke. He's really a part of the Dallas Metroplex now.
I think from an X-to-O standpoint, I'll have to adjust to maybe playing off such good creators. In Golden State, it was very motion-based offense. Just being able to play with Luka the last few days, his ability to pick and roll is maybe the best I've ever seen, and it'll be fun to play with him in those sets because he draws so much attention and he gets so many open looks from the perimeter. So I'll be there to knock him down, and then I'll be there to knock him open looks from the perimeter. So I'll be there to knock him down, and then I think it will take.
He's literally giddy. Look how smiley he is.
A couple weeks, just to get used to this new system. But luckily, opening night's not till the 22nd, I think. So this preseason might be the most important one I've had in so many years, and I can't wait to get going tomorrow and learn this system. But I do know I'm a hooper, so I can adjust accordingly, and I look forward to doing that.
He's happy, man. He's excited. First top-tier playmaker he's ever played with. All right, come on. That's not fair, bro. That's not fair to do to Chiozza. Okay? Yeah, that's not fair to do to Gary Payton second. Now, some of those answers concern me. Like, the kid has, Cuban alluded to it. Now, Klay's kind of alluding to it. Like, all the motion offense in Golden State, basically saying he won't have to do that here. He should still do that here, though. Like, he should still do that with the Mavericks. Like, that shouldn't be something that's just completely and totally out of his game. I'm sure that's part of it, though. You're getting older. Like, it's probably a little bit nicer. Here we go. Here it comes. You knew this one was going to get quoted. Playing with Luka the past few days in the pick and roll has been like the best I've ever seen. Here we go. Get ready, guys. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. The Warriors fans are going to be here. I do get this feeling with this team. And call me a sucker. You guys know how much I base everything I do off of vibes. This team just has a feel to them, man. I don't know. They just feel serious. They got some aura. I can't sit here and lie to you and pretend like they don't have aura. Am I falling victim? Am I falling victim to the aura trap? Usually when teams rely on aura, it goes poorly. Usually aura means that they're not that good. Well, there's still some guys who need to talk. Najee Marshall's about to speak. I'm kind of interested to hear what he has to say. You've done this every year you've been streaming. Have I? Oh, boo. I did not realize this, man. They got Kevin Porter Jr. in 77. Get his ass out of that jersey. Get his ass out of that jersey. That's just disrespectful, man. You see what Harden said about Luka? All right, Najee Marshall saw us to talk, but I feel like we know what he's going to say or along the lines of it. So I did see what Harden had to say about Luka. Let us, shall we, get into media day from across the NBA, right? It's not just a Dallas Mavericks media day. Every single other team, or most teams at least, are at their media day. Currently, I mean, this is cool. Like, come on. This is cool. I'll make all the jokes you want. This is a cool thing. And I haven't heard any of their quotes because I think their media day started after the stream started. But I'm interested to see. And my prediction is that they trot him out there on opening night. They're going to want an opening night thing where Bronny and LeBron are on the court together, where Bronny's probably not ready to play in the NBA currently. But come on, it is pretty sick. JJ Redick. Now, I'm getting two vibes from him. He's either going to be one of the greatest coaches ever or be horrible. Like, that's just, from this stance alone, like, we're getting one of the greatest psychotic coaches ever. This is going to be Joe Mazzulla type of psychosis, type of psychoticness from JJ Redick, or he's going to be one of the worst ever and be fired by December. That's sort of what we can gather from this pose simply right here. Here's Draymond. Draymond was already getting into it with a reporter.
And that didn't happen. I was just wondering your perspective on, those things not happening and what the roster kind of reconfigured to where it is today.
I like the way the job Mike's done with reconfiguring the roster. I thought Mike did it and Joe and this organization, they did an incredible job of not panicking. In the moment where you feel like, you miss out on a guy or two, most people didn't make a bad deal because everyone around the world, everyone, the microscope that's always on this organization for the last 10 years, is still there. And everyone around has thoughts about what this team should look like, the makeup of the roster, who they think should be on the roster. And to see them stand pat and say, no, we're going to pluck away. We're going to sign a Buddy Hield. We're going to sign a DeAnthony Melton. We're going to sign a Kyle Anderson and just pluck away and chip away at it. I thought that was incredible. I thought it shows who this organization is.
Cooked.
And it is a testament to Mike Dunleavy and who he is as a basketball mind, a guy who's grown up in the NBA his whole life. And like I said, in most situations you see someone panic and they make a move that set them back for 5 years. And you set one move in this league, it can pretty much set you up for how the next 10 years of your organization is going to go. And
that's true, and it's kind of ironic he's saying that in a question about Paul George, considering the Paul George trade for the Clippers has set them back years and has basically fucked their franchise. But it is funny Draymond saying that because Draymond, being incapable of being just a kind of considerate human being next to Kevin Durant, led to him leaving, and that has sort of, fucked their franchise a little bit.
Sometimes the best deal you can make is to not make a deal. And I think, we did a great job in going out and getting pieces that's going to help.
I kind of partially agree with what he's saying in the sense that I don't think Paul George makes them a title contender. But honestly, I don't think really anything at this point would point the Warriors back to being a title contender unless, the only way that they can go back to being a title contender is unless Wiggins sort of goes back to where he was a few years ago and Kuminga, has a massive breakout. Podziemski continues to get better. That's really it. And when I say Kuminga has a massive breakout, I'm talking all-NBA level breakout. So this is what you guys are talking about. James Harden on the new look Clippers style of play this season is definitely going to involve a lot of me. There was talk when I was in Houston, you can't win like that. You just saw a guy, Luka Doncic, last season make the finals playing the exact same way I played. So it's a lot of interesting quotes from the Clippers media day. I was following along with it. A lot of very interesting stuff. They do think Kawhi Leonard will be back by opening night. He's dealing with a knee injury again. Just had, I think they said a minor procedure this offseason. Obviously, they lose Paul George. They bring in Derrick Jones Jr. I think there's a Norman Powell quote coming up that I bookmarked about how losing losing Paul George might be addition by subtraction, which is an interesting way to look at it. An interesting way to look at it, to say the least. This was a guy who made the All-NBA team a year ago, didn't he? But anyways, in regards to this, look, I've defended James Harden over the years. I've also defended James Harden when Mavs fans have gotten upset at comparisons between the two. I think it's a fine comparison. I don't think they're similar. They are similar players, right? They have the ball in their hands a lot. They isolate a lot, and they are great isolation players. They're great pick and roll ball handlers. I think the way that they play make is different. I do think Harden's more of Harden's a great playmaker and a great passer. I just think Luka's better at it. I think Luka is better at manipulating the defense, and I do feel just watching the two, Harden is more of a score first mindset where he's going to pass off of that, and Luka feels like it's more of I am playmaking and I'll score if it's there, but I'm trying to bend the defense to create for others, if that makes sense. Both good. I mean, Harden at his peak is one of the greatest offensive players ever. This is spooky, though, for the Clippers. If they think they're going to be good, and it's 35-year-old James Harden is going to be the center point of our team offensively. You know? It's a little scary. But I've been saying this forever. Like, the heliocentrism stuff that people shit on, like, yes, it's never technically one. If you're like saying the James Harden Luka types, because guys like LeBron and Kobe had massive usage rates, but they're more so saying guys like Luka and Kyrie who ISO all the time and take step backs, right? Harden went up against some of the best teams ever made, maybe the best team ever made, and was a disastrous 27 straight missed threes away from making the finals and probably winning it that year. So it's kind of nice to see this shout here from Harden. I think that's nice. Harden fans hate Luka, and I think vice versa. I've never really hated it. It hasn't won because by definition, heliocentrism means your team isn't talented enough, like it was the best strat for that team. Yeah, and that is kind of true as well. Like, the reason why those Rockets teams, why these Mavericks teams have been so Luka do everything is because it is the best form of offense for them. And it's why constantly we've said, and I've said, the best Luka seasons will be when he takes a step back and some stats just because he doesn't need the ball in his hands very often. And I don't think it's a secret why they made the Western Conference Finals in a year where Jalen Brunson had a breakout season and sort of stepped into that number 2 role alongside Luka Doncic, and Kyrie Irving was here and was the number 2 alongside Luka Doncic. I always defended Harden as a 77 fan. You kind of have to. Like, you kind of have to. Because a lot of the talking points against Luka were the same talking points against Harden. And I will say, Harden's playoff resume speaks for itself in a bad way, whereas Luka's playoff resume also speaks for itself in a good way. So those comparisons, anytime Harden fans are like, why is no one talking about, like, Harden, Luka doing this, Harden was doing the same shit. It's like, well, Harden did diarrhea his pants all the time in the playoffs. Like, it happened. If Harden had better playoff resume, we would never talk about Harden in a negative light, right? Or at least hardly ever. The reason why Luka gets more of a pass for heliocentrism stuff, even though it gets talked about all the fucking time, but the reason why you think he gets more of a pass is because we've seen that guy be an absolute murderer in the playoffs. Like, we've seen that guy be a killer in the postseason. I don't know if you talked about this, but what the fuck? Let's see. Giannis says he and Dame. Okay, well, I do have that bookmark. We'll get to that. DeJounte Murray. I think this is a great picture. The accurate representation there in the background. All of the horrible bricks that DeJounte Murray is going to throw at the rim that will deflate these basketballs. I think this is an accurate representation of what this is going to look like this upcoming season for the New Orleans Pelicans. I wonder if I had another quote bookmarked here I saw from the New Orleans Pelicans media day. Dribbling the air out of the ball. There you go. That's a better one. That's a better joke. Yes, dribbling the air out of the ball. Donovan Mitchell, it's good to have a media day where we're not talking about where I'm going next. That's a great answer. I mean, that really is. Donovan Mitchell obviously signed his extension, and he's just said all the right stuff since going to Cleveland. I mean, I thought just like everyone else that this Cleveland was going to be a short stint and he'd be on his way elsewhere. And maybe in a world where Brunson doesn't break out and the Knicks still are looking for a superstar, or the Nets are good and are looking for a superstar, maybe it's different. But I like this. I think it's really good. It's good for the NBA. You know, a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who's I think poised to have a really big season this year. In Cleveland, happy to be there. Locked On Clips said Luka's ceiling is higher because he's bigger and has a bully dimension to his game. Yes, and that's true as well. And going back to this is a sick picture though. It's funny and joke. It's fun to joke, but this looks sick. Cade, some really interesting stuff from the Pistons media day as well. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You guys know I'm pretty in on the Hornets. Sounds fucking stupid. I'm fully aware. But I think the Hornets could be a sneaky good basketball team this year. I want the Pistons to be good so bad, man. Like I really do. I don't know if it's going to be this year necessarily. I don't know if it'll be this year for them. But they're taking steps in the right direction. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're better this year than a lot of people think. Cade, talking about the Detroit Tigers, who had a crazy – they're in the MLB postseason. For those of you who don't know, they had an insane last month or two of the season to pull a postseason appearance out of their ass. Cade, I was there at the game Friday when the Tigers clinched. I'm in the building seeing how the stadium is reacting to that, getting chills. That's what we want to do for the Pistons fans, for the city as far as basketball. We want to bring the same exact excitement, same joy. Great answer. I'm rooting so hard for Cade Cunningham. Rooting so hard for Cade Cunningham. Woj bomb? Is there actually a Woj bomb? Is Woj just never going to tweet anymore? I mean, it's kind of weird. Kind of sad looking at his timeline. Derrick Jones Jr. in a Clippers jersey. Those are pretty sick jerseys. This was a very interesting, very, very interesting quote here from Cam Johnson. We're not going to watch the whole video or read the whole quote, but I'm paraphrasing. Basically saying that Sean Marks, the GM of the Brooklyn Nets, went to him in the offseason and was pretty much like, yo, we might trade you. Like, just a heads up. Like, you're on the market. What the fuck? Why is clicking on a tweet in the bookmarks such a pain in the ass? God. Just really interesting. I thought a really, really insightful answer from Cam Johnson, where he's pretty much just like, yo, I'm happy to be here with the Nets if they keep me here, but I really appreciate those open conversations. And it's just really interesting hearing this days after Karl-Anthony Towns trade, where it's just the Timberwolves seem to blindside their franchise player of the last 10 years. Cam Johnson's interesting on the trade market. I mean, it would be interesting on the Mavs, but I don't really know what the Mavs could give up. I mean, there's teams out there that could use a guy like Cam Johnson. I'm thinking like the Cavaliers. I'm thinking the Thunder before some of their moves this offseason. Yeah, no, I'm have the Mets Braves up here off to the side. That's why I've kind of been spacing out my answers sometimes because I'm peeking over. It's easy to be open and honest with your players, and you're just like, that is true as well. Like, it's not even like it's a secret. Obviously, a team as bad as the Nets are going to be, all of their veterans are on the trade block, so it's not like an open secret. Whereas if the Timberwolves went to Cat during the summer, like, hey, we're just going to be honest with you, we're talking about you in trades, that could be very, very weird. Is this what you're talking about with Pirtle?
Trust me, it's fine.
Nice.
It's fine. Trust me, it's fine.
Nice.
This? What am I looking at here? I asked Acapurtle how he feels about the rebuilding Raptors and their organizational goals development still align with his own goals in his career arc. Interesting answer. For a team to be fun and desirable to play on, it doesn't have to be a championship contender every single year. It's more about the mindset and the focus that we have as a team. And I think we have a very good plan when it comes to the future, and our mindset and general energy in the locker room is very positive. So I think those are key components for me where it's like, okay, this is a project that makes sense for me. I think a situation where you're maybe trying to hold on to something that doesn't make sense, or there's a toxic locker room, wouldn't be a good fit. The situation that we have here overall, to me, is a positive one. That's why I think it makes sense for me to be here, and I think I can help this team a lot in the situation. Situation can help me in return, so I think it's a win-win situation. Braves take the lead. I know. I just saw it. I'm rooting for the Mets. I don't know why I have like a... I have just like a... The Mets just resonate with me for some reason. Interesting. That is a very interesting answer. Now, that's easy to say now. When it's March and you're 22 games below 500, I wonder if those feelings are still the same. All right, this is what I was talking about earlier, this hilarious Norman Powell quote. Norman Powell and the Clippers losing Paul George. I saw it as addition by subtraction, more guys getting opportunities, including myself. Oh, man. Interesting. It sounds, from the quotes I hear, and obviously every team thinks they're good, but you hear quotes from like the Clippers or the Raptors where it's like, yeah, it's a rebuild, but like we're having fun. Cam Johnson's like, yeah, we suck. I'm in trade talks. I go, that's fine with me. The Clippers, who I do not think are going to be a good basketball team. I've seen some propaganda from Clippers people. I don't think they're going to be a good basketball team. I cannot see it. I cannot see a world in which they are. They're like, dude, honestly, losing Paul George, actually probably good for us. Like, it's more of an opportunity for Bones Highland, for Kevin Porter Jr. Here's our guy, Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. in the Detroit Pistons uni. Looks good. He had a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase here. I don't want to go digging for it. But he did have a quote that said, there's only one Luka Doncic, but Cade Cunningham, you can get close, something like that. Which Mavericks fans shit on immediately. I don't have a problem with him saying that. Who cares? Literally, who cares? I love Cade Cunningham. I'm a big believer in him. I never thought the Luka comparisons were fair to him at all. There was a thing immediately that Pistons fans had. I never thought that was fair. Starting five is going to be tough. Here's the Memphis Grizzlies starting five. Oh, man, I'm trying to talk myself back into it. Like, early in the summer, I was like, the Grizzlies are going to be good. And maybe it's just because now every single basketball podcaster and reporter is saying the same thing, that now I want to be on the opposite side of the fence. They do have some aura. Do they, though? Ja has aura, obviously. Ja Morant exudes aura. Marcus Smart does not exude aura. Zach Edey does not have aura. Jaren Jackson Jr., negative aura, if I'm just being real. I do think Desmond Bane has aura. You are 30. All right, first and foremost, no, I'm not. But point taken. Point taken. I'll stop. Uh, 2024 Spurs Media Day thread. Coach Popovich up first. And opts to stand. I don't feel like sitting. Now that's That's respectable. Now, if I stand during all my streams, it's just there's more energy, you know. You feel, I've said this before, you're more ready to do things. You're more ready to move if needed for whatever reason. It's good to stand up. Some people say sitting is the new smoking. So just keep that in mind. On Chris Paul, he's going to be a great mentor for our young guys. These guys haven't really had that. I can't even quantify how important that will be. Agreed wholeheartedly. I thought the Spurs had a tremendous offseason. I did think there was a world where they could have... You're sitting and smoking. Wow, that's almost like compounding. That's like so much negative force that it's almost bad. It's the same as like when you multiply two negatives, you get a positive, right? But I thought they had a tremendous offseason just because they needed that veteran presence, and they got a great point guard to play next to Wemby, even though he's really, really old. What is going on? Dude, there's some weird quotes in the Clippers from Clippers Media Day. Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers losing Paul George. I don't feel like it's going to be harder for me personally for anybody on the court with I don't look at him to be my savior. There's some weird stuff going on. Was there some like shit we didn't know about? Realistically, how big of a downgrade is it from Marcus Smart to Vince Williams? A decent downgrade. I'm working on my top 100 list, which is still a few weeks away, but I'm working on it now. Marcus Smart's a difficult one. Still a top 100 player. I did see that Jonathan Isaac added 30 pounds. I'm not covering that shit on here. I don't care about adding muscle weight. There is something that I saw that I did bookmark. I'm intrigued when a player is reportedly taller. That's interesting to me. Like right here, Bilal Coulibaly. Apparently, he's way taller now than he was last year. See, that is somewhat interesting to me. This was the thing about Bilal going into the draft, I remember, was that people said that he was still growing. What about Joel Embiid losing weight? Don't care at all. We do have the Embiid quote coming up here soon. Ben Simmons going on a revenge tour this year? What? I think people forget me as a player when I'm healthy. I'm pretty good, right? The Ben Simmons thing again. Just remember that hilarious tweet from a couple weeks ago where someone said, that's how you know the NBA season's right around the corner, is Ben Simmons workout videos are here. That's usually like you're about a month away. Ben Simmons' contract year. I mean, what are the chances, do we think? What are the chances that Ben Simmons has a good enough season to net a contract above the mid-level exception? Like, what would have to happen? What would have to happen? 65 games? All defense? Like, how good will he have to be this year for a team to be like, all right, we'll do it. Fuck it. We'll give him 4 years. Did Lindor just go yard? Oh my God, hold on. This Mets game is crazy. More than 10 games played? No, sorry, you spoil that shit for me? Bro, everyone in here is spoiling it. Everyone in here is spoiling it. All right, let's hurry up so I can watch the end of this game. Ben Simmons, we'll see. I'm not gonna lie. The Ben Simmons shit works on me. I'm a fucking sucker. I've seen it with my own two eyes. He's still young. Like, it should still work. Like, it should still. There should be a redemption story hidden in here somewhere. First look at the 76ers Big Three. It looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm interested. I'm very interested to see what these three got going on. See, here's what I'm saying. Yeah, Three Cone, I love his shit. This is exactly what I was talking about for the Thunder Media Day. Why does this photo go so hard? He's back. MVP. Where are they? Dude, did they talk? Did a word come out of their mouth? I have yet to see the savior of basketball. I've yet to see a tweet about the Thunder Media Day that involved any words. It's literally just pictures of Shea saying, he's so fucking hot and sexy and I want him. Dayron Sharp says people are sleeping on the Nets. You're right. I'm fast asleep, Dayron. Joel Embiid said he's lost 25 to 30 pounds and hopes to lose more. Said his only focus is on doing whatever it takes to be healthy when the playoffs come around and that he isn't worried about anything else. Keep in mind, Joel Embiid will be 31 years of age when he makes the playoffs again. It's the right call. I mean, he's got to be ready to go for the playoffs. That should be priority number one for him always, right? Always. It does make you wonder what's exactly been going on. Like, is this something that you're supposed to have a revelation about when you're 31? Like, maybe when you're 24 or 25? 31, though? Embiid having a Dirk run is my greatest nightmare. It does kind of feel like his career's leading up to that point, but I don't know. It's kind of like now or never. Obviously, with the Paul George edition, it pretty much is now or never over the next 2 or 3 years. It was a breath of fresh air to experience a summer like that, to be able to really lock in on basketball, really break down film. Working smarter was the main goal for the season, says Zion Williamson, who looks good. He's apparently lost weight. He does look good. New tattoo. There's always a new tattoo boost, I feel like. Of course, the big thing with the Pelicans is their center rotation. Paraphrasing here, but they had some quotes along the lines of, we saw Daniel Tice in the Olympics. Like, he should be good defending centers for us. Don't love that. Giannis said him and Damian Lillard were not able to get together this offseason. Some people were freaking out about this. I don't think that really matters much. Spent that VC on our new tattoo. Yeah. Saw some people freaking out about this quote from Giannis. I don't know. I don't think that's that surprising. Like, I bet Luka and Kyrie didn't play together this summer. This duo is going to be insane. Insane might be pushing it, but it's going to be fun, though. I asked Brian Keefe if he plans to employ Jordan Poole as the team's lead ball handler this year, as he was last year after BK took over. Absolutely. Says he expects more of the same from Jordan Poole. Could be a big year from Jordan Poole. Now, you could tell early on I was going to start bookmarking anything I saw about Media Day, because you're wondering, who gives a shit about this, really? Good question. I thought we were going to hammer through everything, but this stream has already gone on longer than I thought it would be. Jordan Poole stock, is it high? Jordan Poole comeback and player of the year? Is that what we're doing? All right, I got to go, folks. One stream being back. Jordan Poole is a problem. Fun stream being back. We'll be back on Wednesday. I'm not sure what we're going to do just yet. I know it's a sudden close, but I want to watch the end of this baseball game. 1 and 2. I got a phone call. Luka is Phil Kessel of the NBA. Why do I know who Phil Kessel? Like, I don't follow hockey at all. Why do I know who Phil Kessel is? All right, everyone. Good to be back streaming. We'll be back Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure out something. Hopeful that NBAU has a best offensive player bracket. We did the best defensive player bracket. Hopefully we get the best offensive player bracket. Maybe we can knock that out on Wednesday or something. Anyways, love you all. Thank you all for coming out. All of the OGs, you guys know I love you very much. Could have spent your Monday afternoon anywhere in the world you decided to spend it here. If you missed any part of this stream, I'll be uploading clips onto the Slightly Biased Clips channel. New subscribers, thank you guys so much. You will not regret it. Donations, members, thank you guys. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. Makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'll talk to you all on Wednesday. Love you all. Bye.